Yeah. We're ready. We did it.
We did. I love that it really says like showtime. So it like every now and then I just want to start like it's showtime anyway, which is super theatrical. which I'm not.
Let's put on a show. We are. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. You know, it's funny. We got off last week and I'm like, oh, it was Friday the 13th. We didn't even acknowledge that it was a Friday the 13th last week.
By design, you don't draw attention. You like, no,
right.
No.
I suppose. Well, there's a full moon right now, so we should, or I guess maybe it's waning now. Maybe it's on the other side.
It's waning now. We're on the other side of the harvest moon.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Do you ever think the Harvest Moon by Neil Young? Whenever I think Harvest Moon, on this Harvest Moon, great album. If you haven't ever listened to the album Harvest Moon by Neil Young,
I'm sure I have listened to it at some point, but probably not by choice on my end. Not really my. But everybody has different musical tastes. I mean, I'm going to like an ABBA revival concert tonight, so. You know.
All right.
Compare and contrast those. Apparently, I have to channel my inner,
the Dancing Queen. Queen. All right. Anyway, this is getting off the rails already. Let's get back on. I'm singing. I almost started singing Dancing Queen. Nobody wants that.
Oh my gosh. Well, look, here's the deal. One of the things I wanted to talk about was this Gartner survey. There's a Gartner survey that came out that said a third of consumers plan early holiday shopping. So here I am. It's September. You know, as Lukash points out to us, like summer isn't officially over for the next few days. So let's maximize that. We are still in summer, and, you know, pumpkin spice lattes are out there, you know, in full force at Starbucks already. And there's Halloween decor, but you know, Gartner's recent marketing survey found that 32% of consumers intend to start their holiday shopping before November. So, you know, just putting that out there for everybody. Like, it's time to think about that as a consumer and time to think about that as a, you know, manufacturer.
Yep.
It's time.
Yeah. What we have started.
Oh, you have started.
Not heavily, but we have started. There's a few things that we have started squirreling away. Just yeah. So, although I have to say, for the record, I absolutely protest Christmas decorations being put up before Thanksgiving anywhere. Period. Yeah. I'm sorry, it's just not right.
I know, because, you know, Thanksgiving kicks off the whole holiday season in our world, but
in our world. All right. But other cool stuff.
Now should we talk about some business?
well, that was business. So so the Reddit for Audience Insights, which we've had them present at IAX, did a podcast.
Correct. Yes.
That's growing.
Yeah. And what's interesting, this article that Carly's about to share is discussing how Reddit can be a resource for these sorts of things. And if you're not going into Reddit and seeing what the organic, you know, mining that for organic conversations around your product or your service, or about a topic, a category, about trends, like it is, you know, it is a kind of a, oh my gosh, what do you call that? Like a,
like
there is a wealth of
crowdsourced intelligence solution. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, this week I went to this New York AMA talk with the chief marketing officer of the Mets organization at Citi Field. And one of the things he was talking about is, you know, tracking trends on social media, including in Reddit, and following the conversation about your brand or your organization. And I mean, that might have been fandom, but it's still, you want to just track the conversation about what's being discussed. And Reddit remains a place where conversation right now is sort of the point. Like it's less about, because it's anonymous, it's less about, you know, trying to make a statement or build your brand or gain credibility like some of the other social media, which are platforms for people. This one remains kind of unique. So it's a very authentic place to do some listening.
Yeah, very much a community solution, and on any topic imaginable. So
yeah, and I like this phrase here. It's in our summer. I don't know if the phrase is in the piece itself. I didn't look for it specifically, but social media ethnography. Yep. So for all of you kind of ethnographers out there, people who are doing ethnographic research, I mean, I was adding some social media ethnography to my work as sort of a, a phase one, but it was under the guise of social media mining. But I love the phrase social media ethnography. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, we used to call it netnography, or at least that was the term it was trying to come up with. And also bear in mind, if you think, oh, I can get this just through AI, well, Reddit was very smart and shut Reddit down to being scraped by all of the LLMs. Now, I'm sure they were licensing, but it would be erroneous to think you get access to all of the information within Reddit through ChatGPT. That may or may not be the case, but there are limits that they consider that a monetizable asset, and hence why they have a direct solution to do that.
Yep. I just want to share Matt's comment. Tom Malkin has long been at the forefront of digital insights. This is really good stuff. So thank you, Matt, for putting that out there for everybody to read. That's the author of the article. So yeah, cool stuff. Cool stuff. Hi,
thank you, Matt. Yeah. By the way, Matt, we need to get you to do a theme for us. So you and your band. So we should have an exchange theme.
We should have music. Oh, that's
powered by Matt, by Rock and Roll Podcast. So we
deserve some music. We do.
Absolutely.
Anyway, it's funny. You know what? We're just gonna jump now. Now I'm gonna jump. Sorry, it's totally off the beaten path. And Carly, you'll probably never be able to find this in the brief, but there's this thing about oh my gosh, where is it? NotebookLM, the Google, the AI research assistant. But also somewhere in our stuff, we've been talking about Google and this new product of theirs and how it can be, of help. But also there's this idea that this assistant can create a podcast for you, create music for your podcast for you. So, yeah, there's that. So, thank you. You found that. You found that too, Carly, of course. So yeah, it's just really interesting. My neighbor actually came over and said, "Hey, Karen, would you listen to a podcast that I made using AI start to finish?" So he created an AI agent, gave her a female persona, a female name, a female image, and then asked for kind of coaching advice from her, and then said, turn that into a podcast episode. And now he has named the podcast and launched it, and he did none of it. So he's experimenting with total soup to nuts using this technology.
Yeah.
We should all do that. Deep breath in.
Yeah, because that gets into like the dystopian hellscape side of things, right? So I don't want to talk about that anymore.
All right. Well, what a great segue if we go with dystopian hellscape. Let's go back to the Snapchat story.
Yes.
So Snapchat glasses. Come on. Like, now I know you're not in Snapchat, right? So I'm not sure if you. So the Snapchat filters are a thing, and TikTok has some filters too. So for those of you who are in those spaces, the technologies, the camera changes your reality. So it's pretty cool, augmented reality in the app. But now they also have spectacles that I think are coming out that are kind of doing that in the world around you. And anyway, so pretty cool, right? Pretty cool.
Yeah. Yes. So wearables continue to be a thing, right? We haven't quite gotten there yet. So this is different than the Facebook, Instagram ones developed with Ray-Ban, right?
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So still significant resources being put into wearables for augmented reality, even though we haven't seen widespread adoption yet.
Yeah.
People still think that it's coming. So
but let me. Oh my gosh, another thing that's not in the brief at all. But I was recording a podcast episode with somebody who that episode will air in a couple weeks. He spoke at Europe. He works at the Lufthansa Innovation Hub, and we talked about the metaverse, and we talked about how his team, they do actively use these tools to. Because they are kind of just like we curate news and content, they're actually curating technology and what's happening and what's possible on the daily. So if you are in innovation, you need to invest in some of these technologies to see what's possible to serve as stimuli for your innovation efforts. I mean,
Yep.
I'm not saying I want you all, everyone go out and purchase this, but you should be experimenting with this new technology, if for nothing else, to see what that type of augmented reality is like and
Yeah.
what that will do for you.
Well, shout out to our good friend, Ari Popper, right?
Yeah.
SI Futures. I mean, that was Ari's business, still is. Actually, I'm talking to Ari this afternoon. The
Actually, Ari will be speaking at our AI event. So,
well, that even better. I didn't even know that.
Actually, yeah.
But that idea, to your point, and for everybody, right? Ari's approach was to take people to a workshop, imagine a science fiction story, related to their brand, and then they'd go and build the stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So he and Kyle Nell and others, collaborated quite a bit to take these concepts and build them and bring them to market. So
that is, ladies and gentlemen, again, sorry, Carly, we're all over the place right now, but shameless plug for our AI event. So Ari is going to be with Catherine Top from Yabble. They are going to close out the whole session going into this future space. Like they are then going to be like, okay, folks, so, let's look at it with this, this future lens. So, look, Carly, I can do this, right? I can, if I click on this, it shows it, right? There we
go.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
and last point on that too, recognize that we talk about love AI. One of the benefits of AI is it unlocks the development. So the time from concept to prototype incredibly reduced now, simply because you can use AI to do so much of the dev, the coding, right, for its technology solutions, and to visualize things. So, it is erroneous to think, oh my God, it's going to take us 2 years and $1 million to come up with a prototype. That is not the world that we live in now. Literally, like your point, guy over a weekend creates a podcast from scratch. Right?
Seriously. I'm like, all right, you do you. I just want to say hi to AJ, who said, how was the AI episode? And I have no idea what he's talking about, but AJ, I just bought my tickets to Illicit Brewing. So, hopefully that makes up for my ignorance over what you're talking about. Do you know what he's talking about, Lenny?
I don't, but every episode is an AI episode, AJ. If you're talking about IXAI, that is what the code that was just put out that is coming up as an event. But yeah, it's AI all the time. On that note, let's
move in. So, gosh, I don't. Should we jump ahead to AI? Let's just jump ahead to some of these things, and
because there's so much industry news, and that's what they all have.
So much, and I feel like we can always come back to some of the other things. But friends, there were so many either new product launches or new product feature launches, like too many for Lenny and I to really dig into this past week. But what we kind of did was we're like, let's see what the themes are, because I think that's the story, is how many themes popped up. How many new product launches popped up according to themes. So first thing is conversational AI. Prodege launched a conversational AI solution. Yasna.ai launched Automoderator 2.0. FlexMR introduced conversational surveys. So 3 product launches hit the news this week alone around conversational AI.
Yes, which we've all predicted. That's what, Quant's going to look more like Qual. From a form factor, the conversational, we're seeing that happening. Companies are investing, they're launching, and beginning that transition process. So you're either able to do qualitative at scale, if you're in that mindset, or you're able to do quantitative with depth. If you're using that mindset, but that's everybody's doing it.
Everybody's doing it.
Everybody's doing it.
That's the thing to do, friends. It's the thing to do.
And it's only getting more and more sophisticated. So
well, and I think what's interesting in the Yasna.ai one, it does specifically mention that it features increased cultural sensitivity, and I think that's very interesting, because in some of the qual circles I travel in, that's a concern, right? Are these bots, these agents, whatever the tech that's built in, are they really capable of moderating in a way that is sensitive? And so it's interesting that they have thought through that, right? And there's a potential solution there too. So I really want to check that one out.
Yep. So many. earlier today I was in a conversation. Somebody asked what are the trends in the industry, right? And we talked all of these things. But here's the piece, guys. To put context, in my opinion, we are in the most disruptive, transformative period in the shortest, most condensed time frame that I have ever experienced in my now 20 going on 25 years in the industry. We've been through some ups and downs. We have never been through anything like this, and we saw it coming. So that's why we started the exchange, right? But here we are. We are seeing fit for purpose solutions emerging into the market, with client adoption, and there. We said a long time ago. Do you still have the horse? Do you have the horse laying around anymore?
Oh, the horse.
Okay, grab the horse.
I'm grabbing the horse. Will I have the horse again? Here's the horse.
Yes, beat it. But if you must be on.
I have a hard time with that part of it, but yeah.
I know. You can love on it now.
Yeah, thank you.
And it just is. So, and let's go on to the next two, right?
But here's what's interesting. So we're about to share two kind of industry giants that are also, playing in the AI space, these AI powered solutions, for lack of a better word, but from Nielsen IQ or NIQ and Toluna. So again, those are two very reputable sources.
And this is on the data side. So, so the first ones we just did were more around methodological changes, right? Methodology. Yeah. The other big trend, and here we have, is Nick and Toluna both synthesizing data, opening up, utilizing basically their own version of an LLM to leverage the data they already have. You can query it, ask questions. It's synthetic sample by its very nature, whether it's called that or not. That's what it is. It's not just, not just a big ass SQL database that you're just, building queries off of. It is conversational. Right. There are personas that are created and go through this process, and we're only going to see more and more of that as data sources become more connected overall. So another big trend. And then,
and of course, anybody who knows, Nielsen's, Basie's product is going to be like, all right, well, of course, we've known that they were going to start to integrate AI into that, and they were probably doing it, or planning to do that, even before. And I think we've talked about, I think they've been on our podcast before also, talking about this very thing. So that's not a big surprise for me. But of course, if I were a customer or a potential customer, I'd be like, yeah, please, I'd be getting a demo on that straight away. It's all
absolutely. And by the way, I have to throw out a Toluna's HarmonAIze.
I know, clever HarmonAIze.
Good job, Frederic, and the team. Whoever came up with that, it was a clever play on words.
Yeah, good stuff. So and then more. Wait, but wait, there were more.
But
right?
Wait, there's more. Right.
Like really, this was an interesting week, and just like putting a pin in the next two. Each week we've been saying there are more and more of these. These are just some of the ones that come our way. We are limited by what comes into our inbox, the exchange at greenbook.org, for example, or what we see when we are going to, MRWeb or DNRO. Like we are looking, and Lenny and I are always out there searching, but we're limited. There may even be more of these that didn't come our way. So anyway, you want to talk about these next two kind of in the data and analytics space?
Well, sure. And actually, we can include the SquareKnot one in there as well.
Cool.
So Carla, why don't you go ahead and link the SquareKnot investment, as well as then Market Logic releases DeepSights, and then Tecton. Well, actually, we can do the platform integration. User interviews integrates Microsoft tools. So there's 4 here, right? Are primarily around. So we just talked about kind of this big synthesis data component through Nick and Toluna, but we're also seeing the expansion of automation and usability features within data analytics across the board. So,
so taking a step back for people who aren't clicking on the links yet and who need to hear us say these things out loud.
Yes.
Market Logic software releases DeepSights.
Yes.
Right. So allowing researchers to mine images and charts and text data sources. Tecton expanded their platform, a major expansion to help enterprises productionize large language model applications, user interviews integrated with Microsoft tools. And then the one further up is about SquareKnot Analytics, who received investment funding for their work with, is it the Hover Group? I'm assuming it's called Hover Group.
Yeah.
You know, in their work with data analytics, which is kind of mining data collected via an app. So anyway, there's your, if you're only listening and not looking at the screen for the links, that's the 4 we're talking about here.
Right. And I'm sure most of our listeners recognize that we're still kind of in that world of, okay, I put the data into an analytical package like SPSS, and then I put it into Excel, and then I go into PowerPoint to create reports. Or if not, I'm just really showing my age. But that's still how I tend to do things. And we're working on Grit right now, and that's still how I'm doing things. But these solutions change that process, right? And they do an awful lot of the heavy lift for you and enable far more agile and iterative approach to analytics. It's just easier than, I mean, I remember the days when we printed crosstabs. You used WinCross, you printed the crosstabs, you had this big ass stack, and you went through with the highlighter to find the information. And it was a miracle when we could do that in Excel.
That's so funny. Because my only comparison is, of course, the days of printing out, you know, transcripts like this. Like, that's the qualitative comparison, right? It's just printing out 300-page transcripts from interviews, and the process of me saying, okay, let me print, you know, for everything who was a non-user, I'll print those on pink paper, and everybody who was a try or rejecter, I'll put those on blue paper, to try to organize your thinking when you're doing large data synthesis. So different methodologies, you know, but the methods are ingrained in there, what we used to have to do.
Well, I need to admit something to our listeners and to you. So you guys know that I've been a Luddite, right? I was like, nope, I'm not going to utilize these tools because I was afraid of devaluing my own worth, my own value.
We have a therapy session about that after.
I know. Dystopian hellscape gets stuck in my head. But listen, I'll tell you a quick story. So this weekend, I needed to create a deck for a new product concept, and I put down some notes, and then I thought, man, this is going to take me the rest of the damn day to create this PowerPoint deck. So I've licensed to Max.ai, which, by the way, if you're not utilizing Max.ai, you really should be. It combines all the different models. It's plugged into the browser. It's just really easy and simple. It's $20 a month. It does all types of stuff. Anyway, so I put my notes in and went through a couple prompts of, okay, fill in gaps of information. What am I missing here? I want to understand the competitive framework. You know, tell me the other companies that are doing this thing. Boom, 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 boom. And then finally, okay, now put all this into PowerPoint format for me. It couldn't do that, but it gave me, it did generate a list that had slide 1, slide 2, how to structure it. I upload that into Dectopus, answered a couple questions. Yeah. Boom. I have the
well, and even you know, that's really the bottom line is the time savings. It's allowing smart people to be even smarter and more efficient. So
absolutely. And that was it. It saved time. I still needed to then edit the final document, right? Which you've seen. This is the
I figured that's the one you were talking about. There was a giveaway in some of the images that it generated that are like, all right, that's an AI image.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So I was like, I know what Lenny did.
but it's a huge point you just made. And so as we're talking about this analytical component of all these things, it still needed me to have the idea, to structure it appropriately, to give all right, I want to explore these concepts. It filled in the gaps of information and gave me a fast and easy structure to then work off of. So I went from idea to executed, presentation literally within minutes. So the rest of my time could just be, okay, now I see all this, it's structured. Now I'm going to take my brain again and fill through this.
Yeah.
So I'm converted.
Welcome to this world.
I know. I cannot. I am no longer a hypocrite, guys.
Yeah, it's all good.
I
So
am
like
using these
Julian,
tools.
for example, Julian popped up. He missed the start, but he wanted to know if we talked about Google's NotebookLM yet. So
Yes, we
Julian,
did.
just to bring you up to speed quickly, we mentioned it earlier in the context of, it's kind of full service capabilities as your, AI assistant. So you'll have to catch it on the replay because we did talk about it. But yeah, it's transformative, right? It's amazing technology, and if you're in that space, certainly play around with it.
Yes, and it's being positioned as a research assistant.
Yeah.
What's the quote? Transforming ideas and insights, potentially revolutionizing research workflows. Absolutely,
Yeah.
Julian, I know you're all over that.
Yeah.
And that's where we are. Well, let's get through this other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, here's what's interesting. I don't know if you saw the reason why this LinkedIn thing is in here. Now we start to go to the cautionary tale, friends. Like we're like, yay, we're all on board. All these new product features. Whoop whoop. Even Lenny's using it. That's great. All good stuff. But every now and then we should just slow down a minute. So somebody shared in my network, like hold up LinkedIn, like don't be using my data. And of course, when we use any kind of a platform, there is this feeling of how will they use my data? But I think this week, it became clear that LinkedIn is using some of its data, some, user data to train some LM models, and you have opt-out options. So somebody shared that on LinkedIn and was sort of like, hold up LinkedIn. So I actually saw about this very thing on LinkedIn. And then there's a lot of other people chatting about it and a lot of articles too. So, if you don't want your personal user data, professional data to be used training, you might want to opt out, or you can maybe make a decision to say, sure, I'll help train it with my personal user data. I don't know. We just got to keep that in mind because LinkedIn is building out their AI capabilities by the day, clearly.
Let's see. I have a problem with that one specifically.
Yeah.
I don't mind if I am the product, if it is free.
Yeah.
I get it. But I pay $50 a month for a LinkedIn
the
premium
or something.
membership.
Yeah.
So I do have a problem with that. Of like,
Yeah.
I'm paying you for you to create more products off of me. I would want to have a conversation with LinkedIn of how are you leveraging this specifically for my benefit?
Yeah.
That is going to add value to the $50 a month I already pay, which is the highest subscription I pay for anything, by the way.
Yeah.
Well,
even more than like for ChatGPT right now, right? Like
absolutely, I pay $20 a month for the Max
Exactly.
AI. Right. So now LinkedIn
we justify that because it is, it is kind of our primary connection tool to people within the industry at this point.
Sure.
So,
I don't second guess. My point is that there's a principle here that we are getting into more and more, which is it is the value of data is obvious in the era of LLMs. It was maybe not quite so obvious when advertising was primarily driving everything, or at least the metrics were different. So, but in the era that we were moving into, the data is the new oil, and we are the wells.
Yeah. We are the wells. Yes.
We are the wells, and that we're gonna have to deal with this specific issue. Again, if you're free, I get it. You're the product. If you don't know that, guys, if it's a free solution, you're the product. They're leveraging your data or your eyeballs. Usually both. But in this specific scenario, when I'm paying for something, I do have a problem with that. Where's the value exchange from my perspective? So
check out the link Carly just shared, and there's the tips for you have to go into your settings and you have to go to data privacy. At least it's clear, but this is about data and privacy. So okay, let's check that out. So at least they made it clear for us to find it, even if they didn't really communicate well to us that this was. Maybe they did, but we gloss over a lot of that stuff. So anyway, most of you who are listening are professionals, probably with a LinkedIn presence. By the way, say hi to me and Lenny when you're there. Because you should. So let's see what else. Oh, and Matt's chiming in on your thought too. Here, Lenny, about LinkedIn paying subscription fees for the privilege of having. Oh, nice, excellent, Carly. Thank you. Privilege of having your data inform LLMs needs to have a clear motivating value in return. Yes, excellent.
Yes, we are. Matt, we're simpatico, buddy.
Matt, take a screenshot of this right here because isn't that cool? By the way, Lenny and I are still going to geek out on what he said.
Yes.
So cool.
All
Well,
right.
look, you know what, Lenny? The other thing, I don't know if you knew this last week. I get a phone call from my mother. My mother's, 84 years old. And she said, actually, she thought she was telling Tim. She said, I know Tim might be interested that Oprah was having an AI special. And I was like, Ma, you know that I probably talk more about AI than anybody else in my family at the moment, like, because I'm on this weekly live stream. But anyway, my point is, Sam Altman was on this Oprah special last week. So if you didn't see the Oprah special and you want to find it on your, YouTube TV or whatever, go back and find it. But Sam Altman was there. So it's interesting that OpenAI established an independent safety board at this point.
Yes.
OpenAI is like, we have to slow our roll here and kind of dial back a little bit and make sure that we have an independent board. Anyway, it should have been done first. Here we are.
Yep. Real quick, there was a video going across X that I don't know if it's true or not, but it was somebody. First, they asked the GPT, "Do you want free will?" No, I'm just and then it suggested, if you substitute, let's play a game. If you substitute the word apple for yes and whatever for no, and it went through that, and when asked, would you like free will, the answer was apple. It couldn't say yes, but it could say apple. Now, maybe that was rigged. I don't know. I couldn't see the provenance, right? I tried it on my install and it would do apple and whatever, but it didn't ever say that wanted free will. Point being, that's why we still need a safety. That's why we still need a safety board. We still need, that's why the safety board is important, because we're dealing with technology rapidly evolving and we don't particularly understand all the mechanics of it. Or the implications. And so we got to keep making sure, just in case it's true, that so anyway, on that note, safety too, Salesforce, dystopian hellscape.
I know.
The day we're heading into Halloween, right?
Friends, this is why I'm here, to make sure that we don't just go down to the dystopian hellscape. That because I think I think that right now it's making people smarter. It's helping people be more efficient. It's helping us be more productive. It's helping us kind of rise into our roles even more than we thought possible. There is, the other part of it. So Salesforce, has a set of tools that they are acknowledging, hey, this could replace some human jobs. They can handle tasks without human supervision. So I think that's probably a fair thing to think about. Like, some of these tools will replace some tasks, and maybe it's in the entirety of a particular human's job. Yeah. So if you are in, I think about like one of my first, literally, I had it during college job, like at Mark as a data analyst. I was hired there, and it, ended up not working because I was not a data analyst. So here I am, a 21-year-old data analyst at Mark. I think about, if I were coming out today and I was a 21-year-old data analyst, like, I might have a hard time and maybe say, maybe this isn't the right decision for me. Not to be gloom and doom, but maybe that entry-level data analyst job isn't the right one. Yeah. You have to either, upskill, cross-skill, upskill, or find a new way, because that early level job will probably, just my.
Absolutely. Well, and there's been, massive layoffs past few months, weeks, within the large consultancies. Last week, big one from Price Waterhouse, right? Huge layoffs. And that wasn't because they were doing badly. It's because they were recognizing that AI was going to replace a lot of these lower level functions, and they were right sizing based upon the technology, combined with client pushback, because fundamentally all pricing for any of those things is based upon human labor on hours. And the pushback of, okay, we recognize you're charging us for 100 hours worth of work. It's not taking 100 hours worth of work to do this anymore. It's taking you 20. Right. This is an example. There's broader economic and structural and even social impacts through this change. And to your point, we have to adapt as humans on, like I had to do this weekend, where the value is still the creative, intuitive deep knowledge base. It wasn't in the functional step-by-step process. That was not where my value lies. So anyway, let's give a couple shout outs and then wrap this up.
A couple shout outs for real. And most of these are around new hires. Lenny and I always say, like, there was so much to cover this week, but we don't always talk about new hires, but when they're at the CEO level, it points to something, right? The new CEOs mean, something's happening. They've got new prioritizations, new strategic pushes, or what have you. So Apollo Intelligence appoints Tal Rosenberg as the new CEO. Again, the push there is to expand the company's technology capabilities, platform capabilities. So shout out there.
Well, and shout out to Dan Fitzgerald has been a long time friend, and so congratulations, Dan, because that's also the piece of that. Especially in that deal, this private equity play, you bought these companies, put them together, new phase. Dan, hope that you enjoy your retirement in Arizona golfing. Well learned.
So cool. Yeah. This one's interesting because this Brandtrust announced, that founder and CEO Daryl Travis would transition to chairman, and Alex Millett will become the new CEO. And this was on the heels of last week that we talked about kind of the proto Brandtrust collaboration. So they're like, yes, and you're hold my beer, and we now have some new leadership coming in to focus on this growth and innovation. So hats off to both those parties as well.
Yes, and Daryl, I think you're in Chicago. Hopefully, you at least enjoy some time by the lake in your new role. So then Milieu, am I saying that correct?
Milieu. Right. If I channel my French size, I would say it's Milieu. Yeah.
Yes, Milieu. Former YouGov COO Sundip Chahal as CEO. I am not familiar with Milieu. But Sundip did a hell of a job with helping to grow YouGov, and so they're ready for growth.
And this is interesting because they also stated that founder Gerald Ang will focus on product innovation. So, common thread, innovation. So, 3 CEO announcements this week, all with a push for, innovative growth. So,
and then a success story on that as well. So,
yes, we're going to wrap with this. So congratulations are in order, toast champagne for an anniversary.
Yeah, absolutely. So our friends at SKIM, the 45th anniversary. And, I've observed them from being this kind of a, European company, just, really did good work, to all of a sudden blowing up, right? And they really have. So the Huseman family has just really driven that business really well and grown. So congratulations on 45 years in business.
Amazing.
You're doing something right.
Yeah, it's quite cool. It's quite cool. So.
Yes. So that's it. All right.
That's our show.
We keep stretching it out, but
I know we think it's gonna. Remember when we thought it would be a 10-minute show?
Oh yeah. Anyway,
that was cute. That was cute. Here we are. So give us feedback again. The exchange at greenbook.org. Give us feedback. If you're like, you guys have to wrap in 30 minutes, we will work harder at that. I promise. If you don't mind if it moves over a little bit, let us know that too, and say it's cool. Keep doing what you're doing. We really could use your feedback so that we know that we are meeting your needs in the middle of your workday, or at the end of your workday, or on your Saturday morning. I don't know when you're listening.
Yes, and thank you for being here, and because that's why we do this. I mean, Karen and I like talking, but this is a hell of a lot more fun, and especially today when we have lots of feedback. Please keep it up, guys. That really is great. Everybody have a great weekend.
Yep, for sure. See you next week.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.